The wizarding world is far larger than the stone walls of Hogwarts. Beyond the castle towers stretch hidden valleys, ancient ruins, bustling streets, and sanctuaries where magic hums quietly in rhythm with the earth. Some places dazzle with grandeur, others whisper with secrecy, but all are woven with enchantment. In this collection we wander slowly across continents, pausing at 100 magical sites. Each description is a lantern glow in the dark, guiding you toward rest. Let your breath settle, let your thoughts soften, and drift with me through a world where every corner holds wonder. Step through the hidden archway behind the leaky cauldron, and the world shifts. Cobbled streets stretch forward, lined with crooked chimneys, glowing signs, and windows packed with curiosities. The air hums with chatter, shopkeepers hawking goods, owls hooting softly, the distant clink of coins. Children press noses to glass, marveling at broomsticks that gleam under enchanted lanterns. Witches and wizards bustle, robes swishing, parchment lists fluttering in their hands. The smell of roasted nuts mingles with the sharper tang of potions ingredients wafting from stalls. Every stone underfoot seems to whisper with centuries of footsteps, every shadow hinting at secrets. To walk Diagon Alley is to step into the beating heart of the wizarding world, a marketplace of dreams, mischief, and possibility. At night, when lanterns glow like captured stars, it quiets into something timeless, as if even the stones are keeping watch while magic settles gently in the air. Narrow, crooked, and dusted with age, Ollivander's waits with shelves that stretch impossibly high. Stacked with slender boxes, the door creaks as you enter, and the hush inside feels alive like 1,000 wands holding their breath. A tape measure scurries on its own, parchment rustles, and then Mr. Ollivander's pale eyes appear, kind yet unsettling, as if he sees through to the marrow of your magic. Dust motes drift in the narrow light, settling on lids and ribbons, each box containing wood, core, and destiny waiting for the right hand. The smell is a blend of polished cedar, ink, and faint sparks of something sharper: phoenix feather, dragon heartstring, unicorn hair. Here, you don't choose, you are chosen. Wand after wand may flick and fizzle, until at last one hums with recognition, and a spark leaps like a heartbeat in your palm. It is quiet, fateful, and unforgettable. Shelves stretch toward ceilings painted with drifting quills, each one stacked with volumes and bindings of dragon hide, velvet, or simple cloth. The smell of ink and parchment is rich, comforting the perfume of centuries of knowledge. Ladders glide along rails, carrying clerks who pluck tomes for eager hands. Students cluster with lists, eyes darting between required texts and books that whisper of forbidden curiosities. The shop buzzes with rustling pages, the low murmur of spell demonstrations, and occasional squeals from enchanted books snapping their covers. Dust motes swirl in shafts of sunlight, settling on the gold lettering of spines. To step inside, flourish and blots, is to drown in possibility. Every shelf a door, every title a promise. Quiet corners hold chairs worn by generations of dreamers who couldn't wait to start reading. At night, when shutters close, you can almost hear the books sighing themselves to sleep. From the outside it seems ordinary, a dingy little pub tucked between buildings on Charing Cross Road. To muggles, it is invisible, unremarkable. But step inside, and the scent of butterbeer and firewood embraces you instantly. Low beams sag under the weight of centuries, brass lamps flicker, and mismatched chairs huddle near a hearth where flames never truly die. The murmur of travelers fills the room, voices trading gossip, laughter spilling over half-finished pints, the rustle of cloaks shaking off rain. Tom, the barkeep, polishes glasses with steady rhythm, his smile quick and knowing. In corners, secrets are shared in hushed tones, and owls perch patiently, letters tied neatly to their legs. The Leaky Cauldron is more than a pub, it is a threshold. From here, journeys begin into Diagon Alley, into friendships, into stories yet unwritten. At night the pub glows like a lantern of welcome in the city's dark. Explosions of color greet you even before you step through the door. The Weasley twins' shop is a carnival of enchantment. Fireworks frozen mid-burst, sweets spinning in displays, trick wands snapping into bouquets. Shelves bow under boxes of skeeving snack boxes, each promising clever mischief. Upstairs, decoy detonators scuttle like mechanical beetles, vanishing with a bang when touched. The air crackles with laughter, sparks, and the faint whiff of burnt sugar. Customers jostle shoulder to shoulder, eyes wide as children beg for pocket sneakoscopes or pygmy puffs, cooing in cages. The twins themselves dart about, red hair flashing, grins wide, their voices weaving sales pitches with jokes. It feels like stepping into mischief itself, where rules loosen and joy reigns supreme. Even when shutters close, the windows glow faintly, as if the shop itself can't stop laughing. For those who enter, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes is not just a store, it's a celebration. White marble rises grandly, steps gleaming under the shuffle of endless feet. Goblins guard the doors, their sharp eyes missing nothing. Inside, the hall stretches long and glittering, with counters lined by goblins scratching quills against parchment. Crystal chandeliers throw fractured light across gold-plated columns, while enchanted scales clink softly, weighing coins no human could lift. The air smells faintly metallic, charged with greed, caution, and the faint shimmer of enchantments woven into every stone. Beneath the bank lies a labyrinth, rails rattling carts through tunnels that dive deep into Earth's secrets. Torches flicker against vault doors, enchanted with curses strong enough to outlast centuries. Here, fortunes rest in silence, dragons breathe in shadows, and goblin eyes gleam with ancient pride. Gringotts is more than a bank, it is a fortress of trust and suspicion alike, a place where wealth and wonder sleep heavily behind locked iron and spellbound stone. A narrow passageway curls away from Diagon Alley, steeped in shadows that swallow sound. Lanterns sputter weakly, throwing more fear than light. The air is heavy with musk of dust, damp stone, and something acrid potions brewed too strong, too long. Windows are grimy, their displays unsettling. Shriveled hands curled in jars, cursed jewelry glinting faintly, dark tomes bound in scales. Cloaked figures shuffle quickly, eyes down, whispers thick with secrecy. The cobbles here echo differently, sharper, as if amplifying every hesitant step. Children are warned not to wander in, but curiosity pulls some forward, only to be met with stares that chill. Nocturne Alley is not welcoming, but it is alive every corner, hiding relics of curses, whispers of deals struck in the dark. And yet, at dawn, even here the fog softens, and shadows ease, as if reminding that even darkness must rest. The heart of Nocturne Alley beats inside Borgin and Burke's, a shop of shadows. Its windows display sinister relics, a hand of glory, cursed necklaces, cabinets that hum faintly as if they breathe. Inside, the shop is dim and close, air thick with dust and secrecy. Shelves bow with ancient objects that seem to watch, their magic prickling against skin. Borgin himself moves with snake-like grace, eyes narrowing as he haggles, voice smooth as old parchment. Customers whisper names of items with reverence and fear. The shop is less a place of commerce than a vault of temptation. Relics of cruelty, artifacts steeped in misfortune, each carrying a story best left untold. Even the floorboards creak as if reluctant to bear the weight of such things. To step inside Borgin and Burke's is to feel history pressed down, reminding you that magic, too, has its darker appetites. Brightly lit, buzzing with excitement, this shop hums with energy. Broomsticks hang suspended in windows, sleek wood gleaming, bristles trimmed perfectly. The latest model, faster, sharper, more agile, spins slowly in display, drawing gasps from passing students. Inside, shelves brim with Quidditch robes in team colors, bludgers quivering in enchanted restraints, and snitches flashing gold as they dart against glass. The air smells of polished wood and leather, mingled with the faint breeze of charms keeping equipment pristine. Posters of famous players grin from walls, their signatures looping in enchanted ink. Children dream aloud of matches, debating Nimbus versus Firebolt, while shopkeepers demonstrate gear with practiced flair. It is a temple of sport, alive with possibility. Even after closing, the windows gleam faintly, as if the brooms themselves are restless, yearning to race skyward under starlight. For Quidditch lovers, it is paradise bound in wood and leather. Soft lamps glow against fabric-lined walls, bolts of silk and wool stacked neatly to the ceiling. The air carries the faint scent of lavender and clean linen. Robes in every shade sway gently as if stirred by unseen breeze, each stitched with care and enchantment. Madame Malkin herself moves with quiet efficiency, pins flashing, tape measure darting about with uncanny precision. First years stand nervously on stools, arms outstretched, while parents fuss over hems. Older students browse, fingering fabric dyed in scarlet, green, blue, or gold, eyes bright with anticipation. The shop hums with soft rustle of fabric, clink of pins, and occasional laughter. Each robe feels like more than clothing. It is identity, pride, and belonging stitched into every seam. At dusk, when lamps are dimmed and fabric sleeps on its shelves, the shop holds the quiet sigh of generations of robes waiting to carry children into their stories. Step into the atrium and the world reshapes itself into marble and magic. Golden statues rise from a great fountain, witches and wizards moving endlessly in elegant motion. The ceiling glitters with enchanted daylight, shifting colors like a living sky. Flue fireplaces line the walls, emerald flames spitting arrivals and departures with soft whooshes. The hum of footsteps echoes on polished tiles, mingling with the scratch of quills and the murmured exchanges of cloaked officials. Notices flutter magically on bulletin boards, parchment whispering with urgent updates. The air holds a faint tang of ink and inkstone, sharp and grounding. It feels like stepping into the heartbeat of magical government, a place where laws are shaped and secrets weigh heavily in every corner. Yet, in quiet hours, when the flames dim and the hall empties, the atrium becomes almost cathedral-like, solemn and watchful, holding centuries of wizarding history in its stillness. Beyond the twisting corridors lies a place designed to confound. Black doors spin in a circle, confusing even the surest traveler, each one opening to mysteries no human fully grasps. Inside, the air hums with charged stillness. Time whirls in glittering sands. Prophecies glow faintly in endless glass orbs. The veil whispers from another world. Each room feels older than the ministry itself, experiments echoing silently through their chambers. Here, wizards chase knowledge too vast for comprehension, recording secrets with quills that never tire. The Department of Mysteries is less a workplace than a labyrinth of wonder and dread, where the walls seem to lean close, listening. The silence is so profound it feels alive, broken only by the faint ticking of unseen clocks or a whisper across the veil. To stand here is to stand on the edge of understanding, gazing into shadows that hum with truths untold. Hidden behind a shabby Muggle shop front, Street Mungo's reveals itself as a towering structure alive with bustle. Inside, wards glow with soft green light, healers in lime robes moving swiftly with wands at the ready. The smell is crisp and herbal, mingled with faint sweetness of potions brewing constantly. Magical portraits advise treatments from walls, their voices a chorus of expertise and fuss. Patients fill the wards with a range of sounds, laughter at vanishing boils, groans from spell damage, or snores from sleeping drafts. Healers glide from bed to bed, offering comfort as much as cures. Street Mungo's is a place of resilience, where chaos turns into healing, and even the strangest ailments are met with calm. At night, lanterns dim, wards quiet, and the soft hum of protective charms fills the halls, wrapping patients in a lull of safety, as if the building itself is whispering, "Rest now." In the midst of London's rush, an old red telephone booth stands unnoticed by most. Its paint is chipped, its glass slightly fogged, but to those who know, it is more than it seems. Step inside, dial 62442, and the world shifts. A mechanical voice greets politely, badges appear in your hand, and the floor begins to sink, carrying you deep beneath the city's noise. The glass blurs as if water runs down it, until suddenly light blooms and the ministry stretches out before you. The booth is humble, a shell hiding the gateway to wizarding power, but there is something comforting in its simplicity. It is an anchor between two worlds, the ordinary hum of Muggle streets above, and the extraordinary heart of wizard politics below. To ride it is to feel the quiet thrill of passing unseen, a traveler slipping into the folds of magical secrecy. Deep within the ministry lies the Chamber of Judgment. Dark stone walls rise high, echoing with the weight of centuries of law. Benches form a circle, filled with robed figures whose whispers sound like winds through cracks in rock. Torches flicker, casting shadows that lean heavily on the accused standing in the center. Chains rattle faintly, enchanted to bind those who deserve it, though they often seem eager to bind regardless. The air smells of parchment and old iron, tinged with a heaviness of memory. To stand here is to feel the weight of justice and injustice alike, moments where fates are decided not only by law, but by the hearts of those judging. When empty, the chamber is eerily still, its silence reminding any visitor that countless voices once rose here, pleading, condemning, deciding. The Wizengamot chamber is less a room than a memory, carved deep into stone. In the center of the ministry's atrium, water leaps gracefully around statues of a witch, wizard, centaur, goblin, and house elf. Gold shimmers under the enchanted lighting, droplets scattering into perfect arcs. The fountain murmurs endlessly, its music soft against the clamor of the hall. Coins glitter at the bottom, offerings tossed in hopes of luck, healing, or justice. At times, the fountain seems a symbol of unity, creatures of the wizarding world standing side by side. Yet its beauty holds a solemn undertone, a reminder of harmony that often exists more in aspiration than reality. Still, to pause by its edge is to feel calmed. The sound of falling water drowns the echo of hurried footsteps, and the golden figures seem to watch over passers-by with gentle guardianship. The fountain of magical brethren is both dream and promise, glimmering in the heart of the wizarding world. High in the ministry's corridors, the Auror office hums with quiet urgency. Desks crowd together under enchanted lamps, parchment stacked in precarious towers, quills scribbling notes faster than human hands. Maps flicker with glowing pins that shift whenever threats arise, and notice boards bristle with wanted posters, their moving faces sneering or scowling. Aurors stride through the room in worn cloaks, their eyes sharp with vigilance, their laughter quick but fleeting. The air smells faintly of ink, leather, and the metallic tang of defensive charms simmering in the background. Files spill with stories of danger survived and danger yet to come. To step into the office is to feel energy coiled, as if every chair and desk could leap into action at a moment's notice. Yet in quiet hours, it softens a place where tired guardians sip tea, patch cloaks, and breathe deeply before the next call to action. Buried among the ministry's labyrinth of departments lies a cramped office buzzing with irritation. Its walls are plastered with parchment notices, many charred at the corners from spells gone wrong. Shelves sag under confiscated items, wands bent out of shape, trick cauldrons, enchanted teapots that whistle even when cold. The clerks here scurry with frazzled energy, quills scratching furiously as letters pile high warnings to underage witches and wizards, citations for misuse, apologies half accepted. The air smells of burnt parchment and ink, with faint hints of singed feathers from owls flying in and out constantly. It is not glamorous, but the office keeps order, patching the holes in magical law that spring daily. In the late hours, when letters stop and desks empty, the room hums with faint magical residue from all it has contained a reminder that magic, though wondrous, always needs its watchful keepers. The night bus is less a single place, and more a world that rolls on wheels. Purple and grand, it rattles down hidden lanes, squeezing impossibly between lampposts and corners, its lamps glowing like fireflies in the night. Inside, beds sway with each lurch, brass lamps swinging wildly, and the conductor's voice cuts through the chaos with cheery ease. The air smells faintly of petrol mixed with old blankets, a blend uniquely its own. Passengers cling to posts as scenery blurs past, towns and fields flashing like shuffled cards. It is disorienting, thrilling, and oddly safe a refuge for stranded witches and wizards. To ride the night bus is to surrender to speed and trust, knowing it will deliver you to your destination, no matter how improbable. In the quiet between stops, when the bus hums softly on the road, it feels almost like a lullaby in motion. Hidden between two ordinary London houses, number 12 waits, grim and unwelcoming. Its brick facade rises only when summoned, windows shuttered, black door sealed with ancient magic. Inside, the house groans with age. Dust thickens the air, portraits mutter curses, and the ancestral black family's presence clings stubbornly to every corner. The kitchen is cavernous, its long table scarred from years of whispered plans and hasty meals. Bedrooms are heavy with moth-eaten curtains, their silence broken only by scurrying creatures in the dark. Yet the house has also known warmth, order meetings thick with determination, young voices echoing with laughter despite war. 12 Grimmauld Place is contradiction itself, suffocating yet protective, cursed yet comforting to those who found safety there. At night, when London's hum fades and the house sighs in its sleep, it feels like a living witness, old, secretive, and fiercely loyal to those it shelters. Nestled beneath snowy peaks, Hogsmeade is the only all-wizarding village in Britain. Its cobbled streets wend past shops with crooked roofs and chimneys that puff steam even in spring. Lanterns swing gently outside, glowing golden through fog or snow. The air smells of butterbeer and roasted chestnuts, a perfume of warmth and comfort. Students chatter as they wander, arms laden with sweets and parcels, laughter echoing between buildings. Evenings turn the village into a painting, windows glowing, icicles glimmering, and owls swooping low with messages. Hogsmeade is a refuge, a place where magic lives openly, where streets hum with centuries of wizarding footsteps. When night falls and the village quiets, snow crunches softly underfoot, and the air feels ancient, as though every brick remembers the voices of countless generations. It is not just a village, but a hearth, glowing steady at the edge of a wild and magical world. The heart of Hogsmeade beats inside the three broomsticks. Wooden beams arch overhead, polished by time, while tables crowd with mugs that froth golden. The scent of butterbeer mingles with cinnamon and roasted meat, carrying warmth to every corner. Rosmerta glides between tables, laughter on her lips, her presence as comforting as the fire crackling in the great hearth. Windows frost in winter, their glow spilling out into snowy streets, inviting passers-by in from the cold. Students huddle here on weekends, cheeks flushed, voices loud with joy. Aurors, villagers, and travelers share space, their conversations rising and weaving together like a soft chorus. The pub is a place where burdens ease, where the world narrows to good company and warm drink. When chairs empty and the fire burns low, the three broomsticks sighs into stillness, its beams holding centuries of laughter, secrets, and promises whispered over mugs of froth. Step through the door, and you are swallowed by sweetness. Shelves burst with fizzing whizbees, chocolate frogs leap in gilded boxes, and sugar quills gleam like crystal. The air itself is sugared, heavy with caramel, peppermint, and cocoa. Children race between aisles, eyes wide, hands hovering over jars of Bertie Bott's every flavor beans, daring each other to taste the unknown. Behind the counter, gleaming trays offer toffees that stretch endlessly and sherbets that crackle on the tongue. The basement holds secrets, too, barrels, and hidden passages that whisper of adventure. Honeyduke's is more than a shop. It is memory made edible, a place where joy is measured in ounces of chocolate and jars of sherbet lemons. At closing, when shutters fall and sweets rest, the air still hums with laughter, and the scent of sugar lingers like a lullaby, drifting softly through empty streets. Chaos greets you at the door, shelves cluttered with trick wands, dung bombs, and sneezing powders. Fireworks shimmer in corners, itching to burst free. The air smells faintly of smoke and peppermint, tinged with something mischievous. Laughter spills constantly, bubbling over as customers test pranks on each other, sparks flying harmlessly into the air. Bright posters shout promises of laughter and mischief, their ink shifting playfully on the walls. Every surface feels alive, vibrating with energy as though the shop itself is in on the joke. Zonko's is not just a business but a tradition, a landmark where students buy mischief bottled neatly in boxes. At dusk, when the last prankster leaves and laughter fades into quiet, the shop seems to sigh with contentment. Its shelves settle, fireworks dim, and a smile lingers invisibly in the air, waiting patiently for tomorrow's mischief to wake it once more. Down a quieter lane lies the Hog's Head, its windows clouded, its door creaking on old hinges. Inside, shadows cling thickly, the air tinged with goat and smoke. The bar is cluttered, its shelves lined with dusty bottles whose labels have long faded. Customers hunch low, their faces half hidden, voices hushed as they trade secrets or gold. The smell is sharp fire whiskey, unwashed cloaks, and damp wood, yet there is safety here too. Behind the stern barkeep's eyes lies a quiet watchfulness, as if nothing escapes notice. It is a place where meetings are made in whispers, where alliances spark quietly in corners. Though it lacks the warmth of brighter inns, the hogshead carries its own comfort, the comfort of anonymity, of being overlooked. And when its door finally shuts at night, the silence is thick, keeping safe the secrets it has absorbed for generations. A soft bell chimes as you step inside, and a world of lace and porcelain enfolds you. The air is perfumed with roses and sugar, teapots steaming gently at every table. Heart-shaped confetti drifts from the ceiling, charmed to vanish before it lands. Couples lean close over delicate cups, their laughter shy, their words quieter still. Curtains flutter faintly at the windows, blurring the world outside into a haze of pink. Cakes sit like jewels under glass domes, and spoons stir themselves with slow grace. The shop is unabashedly sweet, a refuge for young hearts testing the language of love. For some it feels stifling, for others enchanting. But in the quiet of the evening, when chairs are tucked in and the roses rest, the air seems to sigh with memory, as though the walls themselves cradle the echoes of every nervous laugh and whispered promise. Rows upon rows of owls fill the rafters, feathers rustling softly, eyes glinting in the half-light. Each bird waits patiently, tied to a color-coded perch that signals speed, distance, and cost. The air is alive with fluttering wings, the smell of parchment, feathers, and faint dust of straw. Clerks bustle behind counters, accepting letters tied with ribbons and parcels wrapped in careful charms. The steady rhythm of wings becomes a lull of its own, a living music that accompanies every transaction. Students line up, excitement buzzing as they send notes home, owls swooping down gracefully to accept the charge. The post office is not grand, but it is a hub of connection, where news, love, and secrets all take flight on silent wings. When shutters close at night, the birds roost together, cooing softly, a chorus of guardians watching over dreams in the village below. Perched at the edge of Hogsmeade, the shrieking shack looms crooked and abandoned, its roof sagging, windows gaping like blind eyes. Wind whips through cracks, carrying moans that chill the air. Villagers whisper of ghosts. Children dare each other to approach, but few ever do. Inside, floors groan, staircases tremble, and doors slam with eerie finality. In truth, it has been silent witness to secrets rather than hauntings, but its legend endures. Even in daylight, its silhouette feels heavy, its presence unsettling. Yet at night, under the silver gaze of the moon, the shack seems almost alive, holding tightly to the stories it was built to conceal. The air hums faintly, not with spirits but with the echoes of transformation and pain long past. It is a house of whispers, and even when empty, it breathes a reminder that some places carry truths too heavy to vanish. Brightly lit windows display robes in bold colors, enchanted to twirl and shimmer as though modeled by invisible figures. Inside, shelves brim with socks charmed to sing, gloves that warm themselves, and cloaks that sparkle faintly in moonlight. The air smells faintly of fabric dye and new wool, with a hint of lavender charms woven into the fibers. Customers browse with delight, fingering the latest seasonal trends or giggling at whimsical accessories. Shopkeepers dart nimbly, carrying armfuls of cloth that rustle like leaves in the wind. Gladrags balances style and enchantment, a place where fashion becomes play. Students often gather here in groups, comparing robes and laughing, their voices weaving joy into the fabric itself. At night, when mannequins rest still, The shop's glow softens into a gentle hush, as if the garments themselves are sighing, ready to carry tomorrow's laughter into their seams. Smaller than the grand post office, the owl office is cozy and warm, its rafters low and filled with drowsy birds. The air smells of hay, ink, and feathers, a perfume of communication. Small desks line the walls, each with parchment, sealing wax, and quills for last-minute letters. Owls preen on perches, feathers gleaming under the golden glow of lanterns. Villagers and travelers alike step inside, greeted by soft hoots and the gentle rustle of wings. Unlike its bustling counterpart, this office moves at a slower rhythm, more intimate, more personal. It is a place for careful notes, for letters written in pauses rather than haste. At night, when shutters are drawn and lamps dim, the owls tuck heads under wings, the office quiet as a lullaby. It feels like a sanctuary of words, a place where every message is cared for as if it were treasure. Cobblestone lanes wind gently through Godric's Hollow, cottages crouched under thatched roofs, gardens spilling with holly and wildflowers. The church bell tolls softly across meadows, its sound carried by wind that smells of hearth, smoke, and cut grass. Villagers stroll unhurried, their presence both magical and ordinary, as if wizard and muggle lives blend here more seamlessly than anywhere else. In the square, a war memorial waits, simple and solemn, shifting to reveal hidden truths when magic brushes across it. The air is heavy with history, every stone steeped in tales of founders and heroes, of both tragedy and triumph. At night, lanterns glow like fireflies, windows warm with quiet laughter, and the village folds into stillness. Godric's Hollow is less a place than a memory made solid, a cradle of wizarding history where echoes of the past blend with the gentle hum of everyday life. At the edge of Godric's Hollow stand the ruins of a house, walls fractured, roof open to the sky. Ivy curls across broken stone, softening edges of tragedy with green persistence. A plaque stands nearby, its words shimmering faintly with magic, recounting the love and sacrifice that unfolded here. Visitors approach quietly, their steps instinctively gentle, as though the air itself demands reverence. Wind stirs through the ruins, carrying faint echoes of laughter that once filled its rooms. The house is not rebuilt. It remains as it was left, scarred and open, a monument to both sorrow and hope. In moonlight, the ruins glow faintly, as if warmed by unseen presence, reminding all who come that love leaves marks stronger than any curse. Potter Cottage is a place where silence speaks, where absence itself becomes a story, and where every brick whispers of courage unbroken, even in loss. Quiet and solemn, the churchyard rests beneath trees that sway gently in the wind. Stone markers lean with age, their names softened by moss and time. Among them lies the grave of Lily and James Potter, always adorned with flowers, some fresh, some conjured, others simple tokens left by visitors. The air is hushed here, the bustle of the village fading into soft bird song and the faint chime of the church bell. Snow settles gently in winter, muffling every sound, while in summer, wildflowers scatter color among the stones. The churchyard is not haunted but peaceful, a reminder of the inevitability of life's cycles and the love that endures beyond them. To walk its paths is to feel a quiet weight on the heart, but also a lift, as though each soul buried here has left behind warmth that lingers in the evening air. Tucked behind tangled hedges, Bathilda's cottage stands crooked, its roof sagging slightly, its windows milky with age. The garden is wild, overrun with herbs and weeds that still hum faintly with enchantment. Inside, Shelves sag under the weight of books, parchment spilling in untidy drifts, ink stained and brittle with time. The air smells of dust and lavender, of knowledge stored too long. Portraits watch with interest, their whispers soft, their eyes following visitors who step carefully across creaking floors. The house feels alive, as though the walls themselves breathe history. In twilight, its silhouette glows softly, warmed by memory of the witch who lived within, a scholar who shaped wizarding understanding with her words. Though silence rules it now, the cottage holds steady as a vessel of legacy, a place where wisdom once gathered, and where every corner still murmurs faintly of stories half told. At first glance, it is a simple stone statue of villagers, a modest reminder of a Muggle war. Yet to magical eyes, it shifts, revealing Lily, James, and infant Harry immortalized in stone, their faces soft and watchful. The figures seem to radiate quiet strength, a tenderness that warms the heart even in grief. The fountain nearby whispers softly, its water catching sunlight or moonlight in endless motion. Visitors pause here, laying flowers or tracing names with fingertips, their silence thick with respect. The memorial stands not just for the Potters but for all who fought against shadows, who gave love in place of fear. At dusk, when the sky glows and the village quiets, the statue almost seems to breathe, its forms bathed in gentle gold. It is both a sorrow and a comfort, a reminder of the fragility of life and the endurance of love. Scattered across Britain and beyond are modest monuments that honor witches and wizards who stood in defense of others. In Godric's Hollow, one such stone rises quietly at the edge of the square, engraved with names not always known, stories not always told. Candles often appear at its base, conjured by hands that wish to remember. The stone hums faintly with protective charms, placed there long ago to keep it safe from harm. Unlike grand statues, these monuments are humble, almost easy to overlook, but their simplicity is what makes them enduring, a reminder that bravery often lives quietly, in choices unseen, in sacrifices uncelebrated. In moonlight, the stone glows faintly, as if the names etched there rise in whispers to thank those who pause. These monuments are less about glory and more about gratitude, carrying the weight of memory gently, like a lullaby whispered to history. At the village edge stands an old stone well, its rim worn smooth by centuries of hands. By day, it seems ordinary moss, creeping along cracks, water dark and deep. But at night, lantern light reveals faint shimmer across its surface, ripples forming without wind. Villagers whisper that the well has always been enchanted, its water blessed with healing if drawn respectfully. Some say it carries voices, echoes of the founders who once walked these streets, their dreams murmuring from depths below. Coins glitter faintly at its bottom, wishes cast by children and travelers alike. The well is not grand, yet it holds a gravity, a reminder that even the simplest things can hum with magic. In still hours, when the village sleeps and stars crowd the sky, the well gurgles softly, a heartbeat of stone and water that has outlasted centuries. The square is small, paved with uneven stones, surrounded by cottages whose windows glow warmly in evening light. A fountain murmurs at its center, the water splashing softly over worn stone. Market stalls gather here on certain days, laden with vegetables, baked bread, and charms stitched into trinkets. The air smells of fresh loaves, warm wool, and faint smoke curling from chimneys. Children chase each other in loops, their laughter ringing like bells, while elders sit nearby, cloaks wrapped tight, voices weaving stories of old. The square feels timeless, its heart beating with the rhythm of daily life. At night, lanterns line its edge, casting soft pools of light where shadows dance gently. It is not a place of grandeur but one of belonging, where lives fold together like threads in a tapestry. The square carries the quiet magic of community, a lull that soothes as much as it steadies. Tucked near the churchyard is a smaller fountain, overlooked by many. Its waters glimmer faintly with silver light, charmed to reflect not only stars above, but moments of memory for those who gaze long enough. Visitors sit quietly on its stone rim, staring into its depths, where visions ripple faintly before fading. It is said the fountain was conjured centuries ago as a gift for mourning families, a gentle way to soothe grief by offering glimpses of warmth from the past. The air around it feels hushed, reverent, carrying the faint scent of stone cooled by water. Coins rest at its bottom, shimmering softly, offerings of hope. By day it sparkles, cheerful and bright. By night it becomes solemn, dreamlike. The fountain is not famed, not marked in books, but to those who find it, it is a sanctuary of memory, a place where love flows endlessly. Behind hedges and enchanted gardens lie homes hidden from Muggle sight. Their chimneys puff smoke shaped like runes, their windows glow with colors other than firelight emerald, silver, and soft violet. These houses stand quiet, yet alive with enchantments woven into their very foundations. Doors open, not with keys, but with whispered charms. Gates creak aside only when spoken to politely. Families gather inside, their voices carrying into the night in muffled warmth. Though unseen, these homes are anchors, holding together threads of the wizarding community. Travelers sometimes glimpse them only as shadows that vanish when looked at directly. At dawn, their roofs glitter faintly with dew that hums against the touch, proof of spells protecting them still. These homes, tucked out of sight, remind us that magic often thrives, not in grandeur, but in small hearths, glowing steadily beneath the gaze of quiet stars. This little village lies cradled in rolling countryside, its river winding lazily past stone bridges and cottages that lean with age. Muggles live here in quiet rhythm, but scattered among them are wizarding families whose homes hum softly with spells. The air is full of birdsong, mingled with faint pops of apparition on distant lanes. Markets bustle on weekends, stalls offering pies, herbs, and tools both ordinary and enchanted. Paths twist toward the hills where children play, their laughter carrying like bells in the wind. Though modest, Ottery Street catchpole feels steeped in quiet magic, as if the land itself has grown accustomed to secrets whispered under hedgerows. At night, the river reflects moonlight in broken ribbons, and cottages glow warmly, their windows like beacons. It is a place where magic and ordinary life intertwine, where the extraordinary hides in plain sight, content to rest within countryside stillness. At the edge of Ottery Street catchpole stands the Weasley family's beloved Burrow. Its shape defies logic. Stories stacked haphazardly, chimneys leaning precariously, and walls patched with every charm and bit of timber available. Chickens peck the garden, gnomes rustle under hedges, and a clock with curious hands ticks away lives within. Inside, warmth reigns. Pans stir themselves over the fire, socks knit mid-air, and the smell of baking wraps around you like an embrace. Every corner is cluttered, not with disorder, but with memory photos that wave, books stacked high, knitting spilling from baskets. Laughter echoes through its crooked halls, sometimes loud, sometimes gentle, always filling the space like a hearth flame. At night, when stars scatter across the countryside and the Burrow settles, Its walls hum faintly with the residue of love, magic, and history. It is less a house than a heartbeat, steady and eternal. Set apart on a hill, the Lovegood home is a tower that rises oddly against the landscape, circular and whimsical. Painted murals cover its walls, creatures both real and imagined drifting across stone like dreams captured mid-flight. Wind whistles around its crooked balconies, carrying scents of wild herbs drying on strings. Inside, rooms spiral upward, filled with odd contraptions, books stacked in precarious towers, and charms that glow faintly at night. The air is flavored with imagination, strange teas brewing, quills scratching at theories, laughter drifting lightly. It is a place where ordinary rules bend, where curiosity is law, and every object tells a story. At dusk, lanterns gleam in mismatched windows, the house glowing like a lighthouse of eccentricity across the fields. The Lovegood house is not only a home but a sanctuary for dreamers, where the world itself feels softer, stranger, and somehow kinder. Nestled closer to the village, the Diggory family's house is less unusual, yet no less magical. Its garden blooms orderly with roses, lavender, and herbs charmed to flourish year-round. The path is lined with pebbles that click softly underfoot, enchanted to guide visitors toward the door. Inside, the home is tidy and warm, full of sunlight spilling through lace curtains and the faint scent of polished wood. Trophies gleam on a mantel, Quidditch victories, school honors, cherished reminders of dedication and joy. Every surface seems to glow with quiet pride, the kind built not from grandeur but from steady care. At night, the garden lights with fairy lanterns strung among branches, casting soft golden glows that sway in the wind. The Diggory home is a place of balance, where magic supports rather than overwhelms, and where every breath feels like belonging gently wrapped in warmth. Stretching beyond the cottages are meadows that shimmer faintly under sunlight. To Muggle eyes, they are fields of grass and wildflowers. To wizards, they ripple with enchantment. Golden sparks flicker briefly among tall stalks, signs of protective charms woven long ago. Unicorns have been glimpsed here, grazing under the veil of twilight, their hooves leaving trails that fade like mist. Children chase butterflies that gleam more brightly than they should, wings sparkling with dust that clings briefly before fading. The air is sweet with pollen, and something sharper, the tang of ancient spells rooted deep in soil. At dusk, fireflies gather in swarms, their light mingling with enchantments, until the entire meadow glows softly, like stars settled on earth. To lie in the grass here is to feel cradled by magic itself, a lullaby woven from wind, flowers, and the breath of creatures unseen. Scattered among the countryside are ponds and streams that carry faint enchantments. Their waters are always clear, reflecting sky with uncanny brightness. Fish dart silver, some ordinary, some with glints of gold along their fins. Children whisper that if you toss a pebble and make a wish, ripples will carry it farther than the eye can see, perhaps even into another world. The banks hum softly, reeds rustling though wind is still, and frogs croak with a rhythm too regular to be chance. Wizards sometimes stop to collect water for potions, claiming it carries a steadiness that enhances healing brews. At night, moonlight pools in the water, turning it to liquid silver. The streams murmur like voices, soft and eternal, guiding travelers home. They are modest, overlooked, yet vital reminders that magic often flows quietest in the gentlest places, where water and earth sing in harmony. High on the moors, wind whistles fiercely, carrying scents of heather and rain. Here, wizards gather for Quidditch, broomsticks cutting sharp lines across vast skies. Stands rise in enchanted wood, creaking under the weight of cheering crowds. The ground trembles with excitement, bludgers thundering in crates, quaffles soaring into ready hands. Even when empty, the field feels alive, its air thick with echoes of roars and whistles from matches long past. Grass bends in waves across the pitch, sometimes charmed to regrow overnight after scuffles. During World Cups, tents spread like a city across the moor, their lights glowing into dawn. At night, when players rest and crowds disperse, the pitch lies under stars, silent yet humming with memory. The Dartmoor fields are more than stadiums. They are arenas where courage, rivalry, and joy intertwine, where the roar of a crowd becomes a living spell of its own. Dark canopies stretch high, branches knitting tightly to hide the sky. Within, paths twist and vanish, enchanted to protect creatures that call it home. Unicorns, centaurs, and lesser-known beings move quietly in shadows, their presence sensed more than seen. Mushrooms glow faintly along roots, casting lantern light for those who wander carefully. The forest air is rich, damp earth, pine, and the sharper tang of old wards woven into trees. Some wizards gather herbs here, guided by whispered spells to find what is safe. Others simply listen, letting the forest speak in rustles, hoots, and distant howls. At night, moonlight pierces in shards, turning leaves silver. The forest is both sanctuary and challenge, holding beauty and unease in equal measure. To walk here is to step into an older magic, one that does not belong to wizards alone, but to the earth itself, steady and eternal. Crumbling stone arches rise among fields, moss gripping every crevice, ivy threading across fallen walls. To muggles, they are remnants of forgotten castles. To wizards, they are echoes of duels and rituals from centuries past. The stones hum faintly when touched, a vibration deep and low, as if remembering. Runes carved long ago still glimmer faintly under starlight, though their meaning is half lost to time. Children dare each other to climb the walls, laughter mingling with sudden shivers when shadows shift. Scholars visit too, sketching inscriptions and whispering theories about battles fought or alliances made here. The ruins are quiet, but never empty. Their silence carries weight, pressing gently on the heart. At dusk, when bats sweep from cracks and the sky burns gold, the stones glow faintly, as if sighing. These ruins are not dead places, but bones of magic, still humming with life unseen. On a high hill, a ring of stones rises, tall and solemn, weathered by wind and rain. They lean but never fall, their surfaces etched faintly with marks that glow under moonlight. Sheep graze nearby, unaware of the power coiled in their midst. Wizards come quietly, laying offerings of herbs or whispered incantations, traditions passed down but not always understood. At midsummer, the stones hum audibly, their resonance felt more in bones than ears. It is said they were placed by hands older than wizarding history, aligned with stars and tides. To stand among them is to feel time stretch, as though centuries fold in on themselves. Grass whispers around their bases, carrying voices of generations who sought wisdom here. At night, under a dome of stars, the stones glow faintly silver, guardians of secrets too vast for words, silent witnesses to the endless turning of the world. Nestled in the Pyrenees, Beauxbatons rises like a palace from misted valleys, its marble walls gleaming with enchantments that shift color with the light. The air carries the scent of alpine flowers and snow melt, mingling with faint perfume from enchanted gardens. Towers sweep upward, elegant and symmetrical, their windows glowing like jewels at dusk. Inside, marble floors echo with the soft footfalls of students, while tapestries shimmer faintly with scenes of art and history. Meals are feasts of delicacy, charmed platters offering food that tastes of both magic and home. The atmosphere is graceful, almost musical, as though every corridor carries notes of harmony. At night, lanterns drift like fireflies above courtyards, and the mountains cradle the school in stillness. Beauxbatons feels less like an institution and more like a dream shaped into stone, a place where beauty and magic entwine gently, nurturing brilliance under starry skies. Durmstrang rests in the cold reaches of northern Europe, its fortress built of dark stone that rises stark against frozen lakes. Pines crowd its perimeter, whispering with wind, their needles glittering with frost. Inside, firelight glows dimly, casting long shadows across banners that bear the school's crest. Its students move with precision, their cloaks lined with fur, their voices low and steady. Lessons here dive into depths others fear, the air often thick with sparks of dueling or the heavy silence of dark art study. The halls feel ancient, every stone heavy with memory of battles fought within. Yet amid severity, there is strength, a clarity forged by cold, where discipline sharpens like steel. At night, auroras sweep the sky, painting colors across ice and stone. Durmstrang stands unwavering, a citadel of tradition and resilience, its silence both daunting and strangely protective in its frozen solitude. Beyond Beauxbaton's shining walls stretch gardens alive with magic. Fountains shaped like nymphs sing with crystalline voices, their water sparkling in endless arcs. Marble statues shift subtly when unobserved, their expressions softening with moonlight. The air hums with bees charmed to carry golden dust, spreading blossoms in perpetual bloom. Pathways curl through orchards where fruit glows faintly, each bite sweetened by spells of warmth. Students stroll here between classes, laughter mingling with birdsong that never ceases. At dusk, the gardens transform, lanterns unfolding like flowers, casting petals of light across trimmed lawns. The grounds feel enchanted not just by spell work, but by centuries of care and devotion. They embody elegance in every leaf and fountain. To walk them is to drift through serenity, each step softer, each breath lighter, until the world itself seems to hush. The grounds are Beauxbaton's living heart, its beauty woven into every breath of wind. The Durmstrang ship rests beneath deep waters until summoned, then rises like a leviathan cloaked in mist. Its timbers gleam dark, etched with runes that pulse faintly under moonlight. Lanterns sway on tall masts, their flames enclosed in crystal, casting eerie light across waves. Decks creak as footsteps echo, boots steady even as the ship lurches through icy seas. Cabins smell of pine resin and smoke, warmed by fires that struggle against the northern chill. The ship feels alive, its wood whispering softly in languages long forgotten, guiding it safely through storm and shadow. When anchored, it looms silent, sails furled, yet humming faintly with power that seems to seep from the water itself. At night, the sea mirrors the aurora, and the ship glows faintly as though touched by stars. It is not merely transport, but a sanctuary, carrying Durmstrang's heart across oceans with solemn dignity. Hidden in winding alleys of Paris and beyond, French wizarding markets bustle with charm. Stalls shimmer under enchanted awnings, cloth shifting colors to match the mood of the crowd. Vendors call out, their voices warm, offering pastries that glow faintly with sugar spells, potions fizzing in crystal bottles, and trinkets that hum in curious tones. The air smells of butter, herbs, and smoke from wands testing charms. Lanterns float overhead, bobbing gently, casting soft gold over cobblestones polished by centuries of footsteps. Musicians often play, their violins and flutes, charmed to harmonize with the voices of the street. The market is alive yet not hurried, a place where conversation flows like song, where discovery waits at every turn. At night, it becomes softer, stalls glowing like lanterns in the dark, their wares glimmering as though whispering invitations. French wizarding markets feel timeless, their magic folded tenderly into daily life. Tucked among mountains and valleys, Bulgarian magical villages pulse with earthy strength. Their cottages are carved from stone and timber, charms woven into beams that creak softly in wind. Villagers gather in squares where cauldrons bubble openly, sending rich scents of herbs into the air. Children chase enchanted hoops across cobbled lanes, their laughter mingling with the distant thrum of dragon wings. Markets brim with thick woolen cloaks, carved talismans, and potions steeped in local lore. Fires burn bright in hearths, their smoke curling into the night sky like signals of kinship. At festivals, the entire village glows, lanterns floating upward in shimmering clusters, music echoing against mountain slopes. Though modest, these villages carry resilience, their magic interwoven with earth and sky. At dawn, mist clings to rooftops, and the land itself seems to breathe with quiet enchantment, holding centuries of tradition like a secret passed gently from hand to hand. In wild valleys of Romania, dragon sanctuaries stretch wide, fenced by cliffs and charmed boundaries. Smoke curls from hidden caves where dragons stir, their scales catching sunlight in flashes of bronze, emerald, and gold. The air smells sharp with ash, tinged with musk of ancient creatures. Keepers move cautiously, their voices calm, their wands steady, as they tend to hatchlings or soothe restless wings. Roars echo through the valley, deep enough to shake earth, yet the sanctuaries hum with balance, a space where beasts and humans coexist in wary respect. At night, firelight arcs across the sky as dragons breathe sparks into the darkness, stars mingling with embers in breathtaking displays. Silence follows, broken only by the shifting of enormous wings. These sanctuaries are less prisons than havens, reminders that some forms of magic are too vast, too fierce, to be bound deserving reverence as much as awe. Hidden in a city that shifts with every rumor, the headquarters of the International Confederation of Wizards is grand yet elusive. Its exterior disguises itself as grand buildings of Muggle-design palaces, museums, courthouses, but within, it unfolds into endless chambers of carved stone and shimmering banners. Voices echo in dozens of languages, charm translation spells weaving them into harmony. Maps of the world spread across ceilings, continents glowing faintly, their borders alive with shifting light. Delegates move solemnly, yet laughter sometimes slips through, carrying warmth across polished halls. The air smells faintly of ink, parchment, and enchanted wax that seals countless treaties. At night, the headquarters rests in a hush, its walls glowing faintly, like embers banked carefully. It is a place of union, fragile and vital, where magic itself seems to hold its breath, guarding the possibility of harmony among the world's countless voices. Paris hides wizarding life within its veins. In narrow streets behind shifting wards, stalls glow with soft enchantments. Cloaks shimmer faintly in windows, quills scribble samples on floating parchment, and potion bottles glint like captured jewels. Cafes spill warmth into alleys, their tables alive with murmured incantations and steaming cups of chocolate charmed never to cool. Musicians charm their violins to play harmonies that weave around the scent of fresh bread, butter, and smoke. The markets are lively yet intimate, every turn revealing a new secret corner, a spice merchant with jars that hum, a fortune teller whose crystal flickers with stars. At dusk, lamps bloom like golden blossoms, and the entire street becomes a dreamscape of soft light and gentle chatter. To walk here is to feel cocooned, as though the city itself leans close, offering its secrets not in shouts but in soft, melodic whispers. High in the Alps, snow hides cabins woven into the mountainside. Their roofs are heavy with frost, their chimneys releasing curls of smoke scented with pine. Inside, fires crackle brightly, warming rooms filled with heavy wooden furniture and enchanted blankets that adjust to each visitor. Outside, icicles glow faintly, charmed to scatter rainbow light across the snow. The silence is vast here, broken only by the crunch of boots or the distant cry of an eagle. Wizards retreat to these cabins for solitude, for research, or for healing, their isolation wrapped in beauty. At night, the stars press close, their light sharp and silver, and the mountains seem to breathe with ancient presence. The cabins hum faintly with protective wards, but their truest magic lies in their stillness, in how they cradle visitors gently, offering peace as profound as any spell woven in words. Across rolling green hills, Irish Quidditch pitches glow with emerald banners and roaring crowds. Cloaked in mist, the air hums with drums and laughter, the excitement so alive it feels enchanted. Stands rise tall and bright, painted with shamrocks that shift and sway like living symbols. Players streak across skies, broomtails catching light, their robes snapping in wind that carries sea salt and rain. Even when empty, these fields seem alive, grass whispering with echoes of games long past. Children sneak in after matches, chasing phantom quaffles through twilight. At night, when fog curls low and stars shine faintly, the pitch seems to sigh, holding in its soil the roar of generations. Irish Quidditch grounds are more than arenas. They are living theaters of joy and rivalry, places where the world seems to pause and hearts beat in rhythm with the pulse of the game. Columns of black basalt rise like organ pipes from the sea, their edges worn smooth by waves. To muggles, the Giant's Causeway is natural wonder, but to wizards, it hums with ancient enchantment. Some say it was shaped by spells as old as giants themselves, runes buried deep in stone. The air carries salt spray, gull cries, and faint whispers when tide retreats, voices said to be echoes of giants or guardians long gone. Children test their balance on narrow paths, while witches leave charms hidden among cracks, offerings to the land's old power. At dusk, the stones glow faintly, as if fire lingers beneath their black skin. The causeway feels eternal, its silence heavier than words. To stand here is to sense a world older than magic itself, where ocean and rock keep secrets together, singing lullabies in thunder and foam across centuries. Scattered across emerald fields lie stone circles that hum faintly under moonlight. Some are small, with just a few mossy pillars. Others rise taller than cottages, carved with runes, so weathered they seem more shadow than mark. Wizards gather here quietly, tracing patterns with wands, their sparks echoing ancient rituals. Locals whisper of lights in the fields, of songs carried on wind when no one should be singing. Sheep graze unconcerned, their shapes drifting between stones like moving shadows. The circles are timeless spaces, where the veil between worlds feels thin, where whispers of ancestors linger in stillness. At midsummer, the air thickens, shimmering as though the stones themselves awaken. Children dare each other to step inside after dark, though most retreat quickly, feeling the hum deep in their bones. These circles are gentle yet solemn, cradling the memory of magic that predates wizarding history itself. Loch Ness stretches vast and deep, its waters dark as ink. Muggles whisper of a single monster. Wizards know the truth. A kelpie lurks, its shape-shifting body gleaming when moonlight touches waves. The loch hums with power, its surface rippling even on still days, as though something stirs always beneath. Mist rolls across, softening shores into dreamlike haze, and the cry of birds echoes against hills. Fishermen speak of shadows glimpsed, of music that drifts faintly over water, coaxing them toward depths. Wizards place charms along the banks, both to protect muggles and to honor the creature's dominion. At night, the loch glimmers faintly, reflecting stars in broken silver, the water restless with secrets. To stand by its edge is to feel small, humbled by the weight of mystery. Loch Ness is not menace but reminder. Magic thrives where depth hides truth, and beauty often wears a shadowed cloak. The Scottish Highlands hold villages that muggles glimpse only as mist or shadow. Roofs of stone and slate gleam under rain, fires burning brightly in hearths within. The air smells of peat, smoke, and heather, mingling with the sharper scent of protective wards woven across hillsides. Paths twist between cottages, lined with herbs grown for potions and charms. Children race barefoot through meadows, their laughter ringing like bells, while elders gather in taverns to tell stories of dragons and wars long past. From afar, the villages vanish, cloaked in enchantments as old as the mountains. At dusk, lanterns flicker alive, their light scattering across streams and stone, painting the settlements golden against wild landscape. These hidden communities endure quietly, their magic woven not in grandeur but in daily life, where bread rises, cauldrons bubble, and love glows like steady fire in wind-beaten stone homes. Along narrow roads and at crossroads where no muggle tavern stands, wizarding inns glow faintly behind veils of charm. Their doors appear only to those who know how to look a crooked sign, a flicker of candle in empty air. Inside, warmth spreads instantly. Fires roar, mugs fill themselves, and rooms upstairs hum with enchantments that keep travelers safe. The air smells of roasted meat, pine smoke, and faint tang of spellwork embedded in beams. Guests swap stories in low voices, their laughter mingling with the crackle of logs. Owls roost on rafters, waiting patiently to carry messages by dawn. At night, when roads grow cold and wind lashes across moors, these inns stand as havens. Their glow promises rest, shelter, and belonging, no matter how strange the journey. Hidden wizarding inns are less way stations than sanctuaries, offering comfort threaded with mystery, warmth folded into secrecy. High cliff shield hidden valleys where dragons once soared freely, their roars echoing across stone like thunder. Charms now bind these places, protecting both creatures and travelers. The air smells sharp, scorched by flame long past, though sometimes smoke curls faintly in wind, hinting at lingering presence. Rocks bear claw marks deep as rivers, their edges smoothed by centuries of rain. Grasses bend oddly in patches, scorched black where fire once fell. Wizards tread carefully, their boots crunching gravel that feels ancient, sacred. At night, the valleys hush, but sometimes a distant cry pierces the silence, carried far across mountains. These grounds are not abandoned but resting, their history alive in every stone. They remind us that dragons are not lost but waiting, their stories etched into cliffs, their shadows still dancing on the sky of memory, fierce and eternal as the mountains themselves. Off Scotland's coast lie the Hebrides, islands ringed with sea foam and gull cries. Few muggles venture here, but wizards know them well. Cloaked by mist and wards, the isles hold ancient cottages, stone circles, and caves that hum faintly with enchantment. The sea crashes endlessly, carrying salt spray that mixes with scents of kelp and herbs drying on windowsills. Residents live close to the land, their magic tied to tides and storms, their spells whispered like prayers to wind. Lanterns swing in doorways, casting gold against the endless blue-gray horizon. At night, auroras sometimes shimmer, their colors caught in water like liquid flame. The isles feel timeless, half in this world, half in another, where ocean and sky fold together. They are quiet sanctuaries, shaped by storm yet softened by magic, cradles of mystery where life flows at the pace of tide and wave. Beyond Hogwarts, the Highlands hide ruins and strongholds once claimed by wizarding families. Their towers rise crooked against storm skies, banners long tattered but walls still humming faintly with wards. Moss covers stone, yet doors open with a whisper of old magic. Inside, halls echo with silence, broken by the occasional flutter of enchanted torches still burning after centuries. Some castles remain inhabited, their windows glowing faintly with life, though their inhabitants are rarely seen. At night, owls circle high, their wings slicing across moonlight, while the stones themselves seem to breathe. These castles are less homes than monuments, their foundations sunk deep into history, carrying weight of alliances, feuds, and secrets. They stand as reminders of a time when wizarding power wore crowns and banners, when stone and spellwork shaped the land together. Silent yet watchful, they endure, guardians of centuries folded quietly into shadow, carved into cliffs and caves. Hidden away from muggle eyes lie runes that shimmer faintly when touched by wand light. Some glow softly like embers, others hum with sharp energy, warning away those who cannot read their language. The carvings tell stories of battles, of oaths, of creatures revered long ago. Moss creeps across their surfaces, but the spells woven into each line remain vibrant, preserved by time and intention. Wizards come to study, fingers tracing shapes that feel warm, as if the stone itself remembers. The air near them often feels heavier, charged, as though unseen presences linger. At night the runes pulse faintly, like stars etched into earth. These carvings are libraries of stone, guardians of memory older than parchment, proof that magic does not always need voices to survive. Sometimes it endures in silence, waiting patiently for those who choose to listen. On the volcanic island of Minami Iwo Jima, Mahautokoro rises in pale stone, its towers carved as though from pearl. The air carries salt, the cry of gulls, and the faint tremble of earth from the volcano beneath. Students here wear enchanted robes that grow with them, shifting color as their skill deepens, pale pink at first, then gold, finally glowing with brilliance if their path remains true. Quidditch is played high above the sea, broomsticks slicing through winds that smell of brine and storm. At night, the school glows faintly, reflecting moonlight on waves, its windows like lanterns guiding ships that will never see it. The hum of wards blends with ocean song, as if the school itself is cradled by sea and sky. Mahautokoro feels like a jewel hidden on the edge of the world, its beauty quiet yet breathtaking, eternal as the tides themselves. High in the mountains of the moon, Uagadou is carved into cliffs that gleam red under sunlight and violet in dusk. Clouds drift across its terraces, wrapping the school in veils that shift constantly. Students here learn not only wand magic, but also to shape spells with gesture and spoken word, their power flowing like song into the world. Leopards and eagles circle the skies, guardians of the mountain. At night, the stars crowd close, brighter than anywhere else, as if listening. The school's stone walls hum with warmth, not cold, carved with symbols that glow faintly as students pass. Its presence feels as old as the mountains themselves, grounded yet reaching skyward with unshakable grace. Ouagadougou is not fortress nor palace, but harmony, a place where magic and earth intertwine so deeply that even the wind seems to whisper spells. To visit is to feel awe rooted in reverence. Deep in the Amazon rainforest lies Castellabruxo, its golden walls half hidden beneath vines and leaves that glitter with enchantments. The jungle sings constantly here, parrots shrieking, monkeys chattering, insects humming like an endless choir. Protective spirits called Kaipora guard the grounds, their laughter echoing from trees, mischievous yet fierce. Students learn not only spells but also the secrets of plants, animals, and the rainforest itself, their knowledge rooted in respect for nature. The school is vast, its halls cool and shadowed, murals of emerald and gold telling stories of centuries past. At night, the forest glows with bioluminescence, fireflies joining enchanted lanterns in patterns that dance like constellations brought to earth. Castellabruxo feels alive, its breath mingled with leaves, its heartbeat steady with the jungle's rhythm. It is less a building than a companion, a guardian of magic and of earth, eternal in its lush, protective embrace. Perched on Mount Greylock in Massachusetts, Ilvermorny greets the misty forest with its granite walls and sprawling wings. Built with love and determination, it radiates warmth more than grandeur. Its sorting ceremony divides students among houses named after creatures of legend: thunderbird, horned serpent, wampus, and pukwudgie. The school hums with the blend of traditions, both European and Native American, each corridor alive with echoes of stories and song. The grounds stretch wide, dotted with trees whose branches hold charms whispered by generations of students. At night, lanterns shine across paths where pukwudgies roam, loyal protectors with sharp eyes and sharper wit. Inside, staircases shift with playful intent, carrying students into new adventures. Ilvermorny feels like a home stitched carefully from many fabrics, a quilt of history and heart. To step inside is to feel embraced by land, by spirit, by the promise of belonging and growth. Across the desert sands lie ruins that shimmer faintly at dusk, their stones carved with hieroglyphs that glow when touched by moonlight. Pyramids rise in silhouette, yet wizards know that beneath them are hidden chambers, sealed by spells older than modern history. The air is dry, heavy with dust, and the scent of time itself. Some ruins are guarded by enchantments that shift corridors endlessly, protecting treasures and knowledge buried deep. Statues of gods and guardians sometimes blink when no one looks, their eyes glittering faintly with magic that endures. Scholars come here quietly, tracing ancient wards, their whispers joining the sigh of desert wind. At night, the stars blaze, brighter than fire, reflecting against sand that seems to glow silver. These ruins remind all who visit that magic is ancient, vast, and enduring, rooted in civilizations whose wisdom still breathes beneath the surface of shifting dunes. Scattered across savannas and deserts, hidden villages flourish, cloaked by wards that shimmer like heat haze. Their huts are built of stone and clay, painted with colors that tell stories in spirals and lines. Fires crackle in open courtyards, their smoke carrying the scent of herbs and roasted maize. Children run barefoot, chasing enchanted hoops that roll endlessly, their laughter blending with birdsong. Elders gather under baobab trees, their voices weaving tales that linger like magic in the air. At night, drums echo softly, joined by the hum of charms cast into rhythm. Lanterns glow faintly, shaped like animals, prowling gently through streets as guardians. These villages are more than settlements. They are sanctuaries where magic is woven into every meal, every dance, every whispered prayer to stars. They remind the world that magic is not confined to schools but thrives wherever hearts and earth meet. Within Marrakesh's maze of souks, hidden doors lead to wizarding streets alive with color. Stalls spill with carpets that fly, spices that shift hues, and jewelry that hums with protective charms. Lanterns hang overhead, their glass glowing in shades of ruby, sapphire, and emerald. The air is rich with saffron, cinnamon, and roasted almonds, mingling with incense that curls into patterns above rooftops. Music plays constantly, flutes and drums charm to weave harmonies with the voices of merchants. Wizards move easily among muggles, their worlds entwined seamlessly. At dusk, the streets glow like fire, every stall a jewel, every alleyway alive with magic. The hum of commerce becomes song, as though the entire quarter breathes in rhythm. These streets are a tapestry of life, where old enchantments and daily trade entwine, carrying both mystery and warmth in every step, every whispered bargain, every glowing lantern. In India, wizarding cities rise within ancient temples and bustling streets, hidden behind shifting veils of illusion. Towers glitter with mosaics that sparkle under sun, domes humming faintly with enchantments of protection. Markets brim with potion ingredients from mountain and jungle, their scents thick with spice, resin, and blossoms. Elephants painted with runes parade in festivals, their steps steady, their trunks lifting garlands of flowers. Rivers run through cities like veins, their waters charmed to remain pure, reflecting temples and banners that glow with light. The air is alive with chants, laughter, and the steady rhythm of daily life, where magic and ordinary blend without seam. At night, lanterns float down rivers, hundreds of tiny flames drifting like stars across water. Indian magical cities feel vast, yet intimate, grounded in tradition but alive with constant renewal, cradling generations in beauty that feels both eternal and alive. Scattered along rivers and mountains, Chinese wizarding villages blend seamlessly with landscapes. Pagoda roofs gleam in rain, their tiles enchanted to sing softly when touched by wind. Bridges arch gracefully over streams where koi flash with colors not found in nature, their scales glittering like gems. Markets bustle with scrolls, powders, and teas steeped in ancient spellcraft, their aromas mingling with incense drifting from shrines. Elders sit in courtyards, their voices weaving lessons through stories, while children dart among bamboo groves, their games sparking with playful charms. At dusk, lanterns bloom along paths, glowing red and gold, their light swaying like fire carried in paper. The villages feel timeless, their rhythm steady as breath, their magic quiet yet enduring. To walk their lanes is to feel the world soften, to sense history layered in every stone, every stream, every whispered spell folded gently into daily life. High in the Himalayas, temples cling to cliffs, their flags fluttering in winds, sharp with ice and prayer. Steps carved into stone lead upward, winding past waterfalls that freeze into crystal in winter. Wizards come here seeking silence, their breath mingling with clouds, their footsteps softened by snow. Inside, walls are painted with symbols that shimmer faintly, their colors alive under torchlight. The air smells of incense, pine, and the faint spark of enchantments woven into stone. Bells chime gently, their sound carrying far into valleys, mingling with the rush of rivers below. At night, the stars blaze fiercely, their light piercing through thin air, touching temples until they glow like beacons in the dark. These places are less schools than sanctuaries, where magic is prayer, where silence becomes spell, and where the earth itself feels sacred beneath the sweep of endless sky. Across the vast landscapes of Australia, hidden wizarding towns nestle between red deserts and eucalyptus forests. Their houses are built of stone and wood charmed against heat, their roofs reflecting sunlight like mirrors. Markets offer potion ingredients unique to the land, shimmering opals that hum faintly, herbs that glow in moonlight, and venomous creatures tamed carefully for study. Wizards travel by broom across wide skies, their paths watched by flocks of enchanted cockatoos whose feathers scatter sparks. At night, the outback hums with life insects singing, stars blazing brighter than anywhere else. Communities gather around fires, their stories woven into the night air, their laughter as steady as the desert winds. These towns carry resilience, their magic tied to land that is both harsh and generous. They remind us that even in vast emptiness, enchantment thrives, strong and quiet as the roots of ancient trees. The great sandstone monolith of Uluru glows red under sun, shifting to purple at dusk. To muggles it is sacred land. To wizards it is a place of deep magical resonance. Runes etched invisibly into its surface hum faintly when traced with a wand, connecting those who touch it to something vast and eternal. The air carries silence heavy as stone, broken only by the wind's whistle across desert. At night, the rock glows faintly, as if holding embers from the day, its surface reflecting stars in ways no ordinary stone should. Elders tell of ancient magic rooted here, tied to creation, guardianship, and the endless cycle of land. Visitors approach in reverence, leaving offerings of herbs or whispered chants. Uluru is not just landmark but living presence, a reminder that magic is not always conjured. Sometimes it sleeps in stone, eternal as the earth itself. Beneath turquoise waters, coral reefs shimmer with colors more vivid than any painting. To muggles they are wonders of nature. To wizards they are enchanted ecosystems, alive with creatures unseen by ordinary eyes. Fish glitter like jewels, some trailing sparks that vanish into foam. Seaweed hums softly in currents, their strands weaving patterns like runes. Wizards who dive here speak of voices underwater, the ocean itself whispering lullabies. Merpeople colonies thrive among the coral, their songs echoing in haunting harmony across waves. At night, the reef glows with bioluminescent light, every creature casting its own lantern. The water feels alive, not just as ocean but as spell. These reefs remind all who see them that magic thrives in depth and mystery, that enchantment is as much part of the sea's breath as salt and tide, endless, luminous, and gentle as the rocking waves. In the green valleys and volcanic plains of New Zealand, wizarding tribes live close to land, their traditions interwoven with song, carving, and spellwork rooted in earth and sky. Meeting houses glow with charms etched into wood, their walls alive with patterns that shift when touched by light. Wizards here channel power not only through wands but through voice, their chants resonant, their magic woven into rhythm. The land hums with guardianship, mountains watching with solemn presence, rivers carrying strength like veins of silver. At festivals, lanterns drift into sky, their flames mirrored in lakes below, a bridge of light uniting earth and stars. The tribes remind us that magic is not only craft but kinship, that enchantment deepens when tied to ancestry and song. Their villages glow quietly at night, nestled between mountains and sea, sanctuaries of strength, memory, and harmony with the world itself. Across forests and plains of North America stretch reserves where magical creatures live safely. Expanses of land hum with charms to protect thunderbirds, jackalopes, and countless others whose existence must remain secret. The air smells of pine, prairie grass, and faint sparks of spellwork. Rangers move quietly, their cloaks blending with landscape, their voices calm as they soothe restless wings or paws. At dusk, herds stir, their shapes glinting against golden sky, their calls echoing across wide space. The reserves are vast, silent but never empty, every breeze carrying scent of life, every shadow alive. At night, stars crowd above, sharp and clear, reflected in lakes that glow faintly from wards. These places are not cages but sanctuaries, proof of wizarding commitment to coexistence. They remind us that magic is not only about spells but stewardship, about protecting the wild as much as wielding power. In New Orleans, behind narrow doors marked only by subtle charms, magical streets come alive with color and music. Lanterns sway from iron balconies, glowing violet, green, and gold. Shops spill with potions steeped in local lore, herbs hanging from rafters, charms etched into shells and bones. The air hums with jazz, horns and drums weaving enchantments into rhythm itself. Street performers cast spells with dance, sparks leaping from their heels into night air. Food stalls fill alleys with scents of spice, sugar, and smoke, flavors laced with subtle charms of comfort and joy. At night, the streets thrum like heartbeat, shadows dancing in step with light. These hidden quarters feel alive, less marketplaces than celebrations, where magic and music entwine until they are indistinguishable. They remind us that enchantment thrives not only in solitude but in laughter, in rhythm, in voices raised joyfully together. Nestled among mountains and deserts, wizarding towns in Mexico glow with color and song. Their streets are lined with painted walls that shimmer under spells, their plazas alive with markets where potions fizz in clay jars and candles burn with flames of every hue. Music spills constantly, guitars and voices weaving with laughter. At festivals, paper charms flutter from rooftops, their cymbals dancing in wind, carrying blessings into night sky. Food stalls fill air with scents of chocolate, maize, and chili, each dish steeped in enchantments of warmth and family. The towns feel timeless, their rhythm steady, their streets humming with community. At dusk, lanterns bloom in windows, soft gold against painted walls, while fireworks charmed with stars ripple across sky. These places remind us that magic is celebration, alive in every gesture of kinship, in every story told by firelight, in every shared breath of joy. High in the Andes, villages cling to cliffs, their stone houses warmed by charms against wind and frost. The air is thin, sharp with mountain scent, carrying echoes of drums and pipes that weave magic into music. Fields glow faintly at night, crops enchanted to thrive despite altitude, their leaves shimmering like silver under moon. Wizards here live closely with condors and llamas, their magic tied to sky and earth alike. Children chase hoops that roll endlessly along terraces, laughter bouncing off stone walls. At festivals, entire villages glow with lanterns shaped like stars, their light mirrored in snow above. The Andes feel immense, timeless, their peaks watching silently. These villages endure as sanctuaries, where life persists against odds, where magic is less spectacle and more survival, a steady, enduring flame cradled in stone, nurtured by community and the endless presence of mountains. Far south, in windswept Patagonia, the land stretches vast, its plains empty yet alive with hidden enchantments. Lakes shimmer in unnatural colors, turquoise, violet, silver, reflecting skies heavy with clouds. Herds of enchanted creatures roam, their calls echoing like distant thunder. Wizards here live in scattered huts, smoke curling thinly into air, their spells woven into wind. The silence is immense, yet it hums faintly, as though the land itself is singing. At dusk, winds roar, sweeping across grass and stone, carrying voices of past generations. The wilderness is raw, unforgiving, yet profoundly beautiful, its emptiness a canvas where magic writes itself in flame, frost, and stars. To stand here is to feel both small and infinite, the world unfolding in vastness. Patagonia is less destination than reminder that magic thrives in spaces untamed, in silence wide enough to hold eternity. Islands across the Caribbean shimmer with enchantments that blend sea and sky. Their beaches glow faintly at night, waves curling with sparks of bioluminescence enhanced by spells. Villages hum with music, steel drums and guitars, charmed to harmonize with ocean rhythm. Boats carved with runes skim waves effortlessly, their sails glowing with protective wards. Festivals blaze with color, fireworks patterned like fish, lanterns drifting skyward in constellations mirrored by stars above. The air smells of salt, rum, and spices, simmering in pots that bubble with flavors laced with comfort charms. At dusk, the horizon blurs, sea and sky folding together in luminous haze. These islands feel timeless, their enchantments woven into tide, dance, and laughter. They are sanctuaries where magic is joy, where every wave carries music, every breeze carries warmth, and the ocean itself sings lullabies to all who rest on its shores. The Sahara stretches vast, dunes shifting endlessly beneath sun and moon. To muggles, it is emptiness. To wizards, it is alive with hidden sanctuaries. Oases shimmer like mirages, their palms enchanted to shield travelers, their waters cool with protective charms. Beneath the sands lie ruins, carved with wards that glow faintly at dusk, their patterns shifting like stars. Nomadic wizarding clans travel by starlight, their cloaks charmed against heat and cold, their songs carried on wind like spells. The desert's silence is immense, yet it hums faintly, as though each grain of sand remembers. At night, the sky blazes with stars so many they seem endless, mirrored in dunes that glow silver. The Sahara holds enchantment in stillness, its magic woven into horizon and shadow, reminding us that even in places vast and empty, life and wonder linger quietly, eternal as the desert's breath. Far north, where ice stretches into horizon, wizarding settlements glow faintly beneath auroras. Their huts are carved from snow and stone, charmed to remain warm, their fires burning with blue-green flame that hums like song. The air is sharp, tasting of frost and salt, carrying cries of enchanted seabirds and the distant groan of glaciers. Wizards here live close to ice, their magic rooted in survival, their charms woven into fishing lines, sleds, and clothing. At night, the auroras blaze, colors sweeping across sky, their light mirrored in waters that never freeze completely. The settlements feel fragile, yet enduring, their presence a testament to harmony with harsh land. Silence reigns, broken only by laughter within homes, warm as fire. The Arctic reminds us that magic is resilience, that even in places where life seems impossible, enchantment burns steady, gentle as lantern flame in the endless snow. Endless forests of pine and cedar stretch across Canada, their canopies humming with wards older than memory. To step into them is to enter Cathedral of Green, where sunlight filters through in shafts like golden spells. The air smells of resin and earth, damp moss soft beneath boots. Hidden within are communities of wizards who live close to land, their magic woven into rivers and animals that move silently among trees. Moose and owls shimmer faintly when touched by moonlight, guardians enchanted by forest's old power. At night the woods glow with fireflies and charms, their silence alive with soft whispers of wind. Wizards travel by canoe along rivers that gleam silver, their paths steady beneath stars. These forests are vast, endless, reminding all who walk them that magic thrives in quiet persistence, rooted deep as roots, stretching high as branches, eternal as the northern sky. The Amazon hums constantly with life, its canopy alive with birds, insects, and creatures seen only by wizarding eyes. Sanctuaries hidden deep within guard rare plants and beasts, their charms woven into trees themselves. The air is thick, fragrant with blossoms, damp earth, and faint smoke from protective fires. Wizards walk paths lit by glowing fungi, their steps guided by spirits of the forest that hum softly in approval. At night, the jungle glows with green and gold light, as if stars have fallen to earth. The sanctuaries are not fortresses, but partnerships, guardianship, woven with respect for the land's power. Every leaf seems alive, every river a voice, every gust of wind a spell. The Amazon cradles magic in abundance, its enchantments vast and wild, reminding all who enter that magic is not always controlled, but often untamed, beautiful, and infinite as the forest itself. Hidden among jungles and rice fields, ancient temples rise, their stones wrapped in vines and spells that still shimmer. Statues of guardians shift subtly when unobserved, their eyes gleaming faintly in torchlight. Courtyards hum with echoes of chants long past, their sound carried by wind like music. Wizards visit quietly, leaving offerings of flowers, incense, and whispered spells to honor the place. The air is thick with heat, fragrant with blossoms and smoke. At dusk, lanterns flicker to life, casting golden light across carvings that ripple with enchantment. These temples are sanctuaries of balance, where magic flows like water through stone, air, and heart. At night, fireflies swirl in endless patterns, their glow reflected in pools of water that seem to hold stars. The temples remind us that magic is reverence as much as power, alive in worship, in silence, in the act of remembering. Sheer cliffs plunge into cold waters, their faces carved by ice and time. Fjords of Norway hold wizarding villages perched on ledges, their lights glowing warmly against rock. Boats charmed to skim silently across waves carry families from one shore to another, their lanterns mirrored in black water. The air tastes of salt, pine, and frost, carrying cries of seabirds and the whisper of waterfalls that tumble endlessly from cliffs. At night, auroras shimmer across sky, their colors folding into waves until sea and stars seem to merge. Wizards here live quietly, their spells woven into nets and hearths, their magic tied to sea's rhythm. The fjords feel eternal, their beauty sharp, austere, yet soft in their stillness. They remind us that enchantment thrives in edges, where land meets sea, where silence holds song, and where life persists in harmony with cold and vastness. Beneath volcanic stone, Iceland's caves glow with enchantments. Walls shimmer with runes etched by lava itself, pulsing faintly when touched. Pools of hot water steam gently, their surfaces reflecting carved ceilings like mirrors. Wizards come here for healing, for reflection, for spells that require Earth's raw strength. The air smells of sulfur, salt, and stone, thick yet cleansing. In silence, drops of water echo, sounding like slow heartbeats. At night, the caves glow brighter, enchanted crystals lighting caverns in blues and golds, their light soft as moon. These caves feel alive, as if the earth itself breathes in their stillness, cradling all who enter. They remind us that magic is not always cast, but sometimes simply found in stone, in fire, in silence. Iceland's caves are sanctuaries where time slows, where the world folds inwards, offering peace shaped by Earth's enduring power. Across South America, rivers shimmer with enchantments, their waters glowing faintly under moonlight. Some flow backward for miles, charmed centuries ago by unknown hands. Others sing softly, their currents carrying voices of spirits. Wizards travel by canoe, their wands tapping gently against water as guides. The air smells of damp earth, blossoms, and faint smoke from fires along banks. At night, the rivers reflect stars so clearly that it feels as though boats drift across sky. Hidden villages sit on their edges, their lanterns glowing gold, their songs mingling with rivers' hum. These waterways are lifelines, connecting communities, carrying stories as much as people. They are not just paths but presences, flowing with enchantment that endures. To follow them is to follow history itself, winding and alive, carrying whispers of generations, songs of land, and the soft, steady lullaby of endless water. High in Tibet, mountains rise like guardians, their peaks sharp against sky. Hidden valleys cradle monasteries, where wizards weave magic into prayer, their chants echoing like spells across stone. The air is thin, sharp with snow, carrying silence heavy as time. Prayer flags flutter in wind, each one charmed to carry blessings into horizon. Inside stone halls, incense burns, its smoke curling in patterns that shimmer faintly. At night, the stars crowd so close they seem to touch earth, their light glittering against ice. The mountains feel eternal, their presence immense, reminding visitors of humility. Wizards here live simply, their lives woven with discipline and reverence. The magic of these peaks lies not in spectacle but in stillness, in silence that becomes strength, in wind that carries song, in mountains that cradle eternity like fire sleeping beneath endless snow. Across every continent, there are valleys hidden by wards, places untouched by time. Their rivers run clear, their meadows glow faintly with charms that protect endlessly. Villages nestle within, their homes humble but warm, their lives threaded with enchantment. Children chase enchanted butterflies, their wings scattering sparks into dusk. Fires crackle in hearths, their smoke rising like prayers to sky. At night, lanterns float across rivers, stars mirrored in water, until valley and heaven become one. These valleys are sanctuaries, places where the world feels soft, where magic rests in balance with earth. They remind us that wizarding life is not always about grandeur or battle, but about belonging, about quiet strength. Each hidden valley whispers the same truth. Magic is everywhere, gentle as breath, steady as heartbeat, eternal as the turning of stars above.